Well, my name's Terry Thomas. I'm 66 years of age, and I come originally from a little mining village near Wrexham called Pennakai. I went to Aberystwyth University and eventually got a job at the very ripe old age of 25 in Bangor, lecturing. I started off my life as an agricultural economist, became a forest economist, and spent a lot of my time travelling, working on the economics of different types of forestry. Well, too much travelling has its own dangers, and eventually I fell down with a heart attack, and that slowed me down. So I ended up on Bangor Pier, where I have a little cafe now called the Whistle Stop. Yeah, well, we called it the Whistle Stop because of the film that was made about a book written by a lady called Fanny Flagg. And the film really is all about a cafe sitting at the edge of a railway in Alabama and all the people who come in and out of it. And that's just like this place is really, because it provides a centre for people to come and sit and look out the window. They talk to each other, they talk to me, I talk to them, and it's just a whistle stop. It's somewhere where you just come and go, but it's in a very special place. We're lucky, so that's why it's called a whistle stop. When I was a young lad, I was brought up in a little mining village. My father was a coal miner, but we were also, Pennakai in English means top of the field, so it was a farming community as well. And we had to work as young boys, and I worked on the farms, and I got really interested in it. When I went to Aberystwyth to do economics, I was there to do economics and social studies, not to do agriculture. But at the end of the first year, I had a very interesting lecture on agricultural economics, and that was it for me. I could see all the relevance of where I'd been and what I'd been doing up to that stage. And I concentrated on that. They gave me a job as soon as I graduated in Aberystwyth as a young researcher, and then I got a job in Bangor. My first customer, he was an old guy who came down the pier all the time to take pictures because of the light and everything, and he was a retired bus driver from London, and he was a great old guy. And it was typical of the type of people who come in here, because he would just tell stories all the time and make you laugh. Sadly, he's not very well now. He's in an old people's home. But I remember we used to call him the Ancient Brit, because that was the name they used to put on his pictures. And his name was Dennis. That's right, Dennis. He's a Cockney guy. You can have favourites in a place like this, but it's always nice to see, you get so many different types of people, old people, young people, romantic people. There's no favourites as such. They all bring something to the table. There we go. When I was sick, I needed something to get my confidence back. And really what happened was I met someone, and she introduced me to the idea of a cafe. And it was new to me. And I just got involved, really. I never cooked. I found most of the time I was actually standing there talking to people. But eventually, I found myself in a situation where if I wanted to continue with it, because my partner had gone or my wife had gone, I had to learn to cook and I had to do it properly. So I did, and I introduced the idea of homemade food, because I think it's important to know where all your ingredients come from and what you do with them. And slowly but surely, I realised that people really enjoyed what I did, and that became quite important to me. I think when you retire, it's very easy just to stop and maybe play golf or something. But I couldn't do that. I needed something to make me get up in the morning and do things. And I found this was the perfect opportunity, because as time went on and as I got more confident and better at what I did, more people would come, and sometimes really quite famous people. People like Alexei Sale, Jonathan Dimbleby, even poor old Rolf Harris. They've all been down there. I miss my family, because they've gone away now, and I'll spend a lot of my time by myself. But when I'm down here, I'm not by myself. I'm surrounded by people all the time, and they tell me stories, I tell them stories, students interact. I find it very cathartic to be down here, and I'm not quite sure how this has happened, but it has happened, and it does me good to be here, to maybe fill that void. I think one of the funniest things about it is when people come in, usually they've been somewhere in the world that I've been, and there's always somewhere you can talk about, and it's good fun to do that, and we compare notes and stories, and it's not really like work, sometimes it's just like chilling out, really, and enjoying it until the pancakes burn and the burgers break up and everything fails, the boiler blows up, and then you think, oh my goodness, what am I doing here? Do I need to do this? And of course the answer is yes, you've got to, because that's what you do. I think you never start off with a preconceived idea of where you want to be, what you want to do. You may think you do. I wanted to be a fighter pilot in the RAF, but that never happened, and I never ever thought I'd be teaching in a university, and I certainly didn't think I'd end up being a cook on a pier serving food to people. But it's probably the best thing that's ever happened to me, because at this time in my life it just gives me a chance to talk to people, to meet people, and to make people happy. I think whatever you do, you just got to try and do your best. There's a tree at the bottom of my garden. I call it the trying tree. I've watched it grow for 40 years. I've seen it vandalised, cut, messed about with, but every time it's always put out another branch and another shoot. Doesn't look a grand tree, just like this isn't the, I don't know, a 5-star restaurant, but it's survived and it's done the job, and it's done it because it could, and I think that's what this place is about. We do it because we can, and people like it, and I can sleep at night. Beginning to think I'm wasting time. Look for the light through the pouring rain. The world outside looks so unkind. I'm feeling the strain. Ain't that a shame? Now give me the big boy and free my soul.